We don't have the hard conversation with children also. We want to solve their problems for them. And it starts from when they are kids. The moment they start crying, back then, our fathers they knew something the parents of today may not know. And passing on information has also been an African problem. We don't pass the right information on. This is the reason why I did this. We will find a strange story around this. Because at the time, you realize that when you're even playing as a boy and you fall, they say, oh, Jano, Bema, sorry, you okay? But it was a way of problem solving. It's a way to learn how to solve problems.
That's right.
As compared to now, when you have a son and he's playing and he falls down, you quickly want to pay, and they have those names, Jaden, and we pick him up quickly. And then another thing can also be a lot of single parents.
True.
Especially when, and I'm not saying this to say that women don't have the ability to raise children, but sometimes they lack the true ability to raise boy childs.
Yeah.
So when, of course, a mother is very compassionate, and you don't want your son to go through certain things, and then eventually you end up also having conversations with him about what the father did. It happens, not because you are a mean mother, but your son becomes your only friend sometimes. And so you end up having some of these conversations. Let's find out what has to say. It says parents of today are super soft on their kids, which is the reason most of the atrocities we're facing today. Timothy Bedu says most parents are just giving birth, no discipline. Very soon, police will be arresting them for their children's issues. This one says they aren't just soft for nothing. Human rights is the cause. That can be but I don't agree to that.
It can be a factor because listen to this. When you were in high school or SHS or something, when we were around, you can as a senior you can discipline a junior and all that. But all those things have been taken.
But
off
you see,
now.
I like what Carl said when it came to a certain style of disciplining, because I also know a lot of young guys, some who are my mates today. Who became very timid because of how they were disciplined.
So
we have to also look at the style of disciplining the
not
kids.
To cut you, those kind of discipline, it either makes you hard
or very soft.
Very soft.
That's what I said from the beginning.
I went through that kind of military discipline, and it made me very hard. You understand? It didn't make me timid. It rather made me hard and more stubborn. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a two-way.
Because I think mine also. Well, did I even get parenting? Because I never lived with any of my parents. I live with my grandparents.
But that's also parenting. In a way.
I know, but I mean direct parenting. But for me, it toughened me for life. It didn't make me soft or look. A few years ago, and I was just telling my boss that I met two young women who had decided to just go on a trip, and you wouldn't find that in this side of the world, because they were very young and they looked very adventurous, and they were working ladies, So John Jr. here on Facebook says to bring up kids is a very challenging task, but it needs firm decision. I agree. Committed parents to do that. Let them know the priorities of life, good and bad, courtesies and manners, among other things. That's very, very important. Courtesy is very, very important. It's very important.
There was a book like that back then.
We used to, yes.
That's right.
Today,
but even that one, we used to do Chu and Paul. For exam.
But then I mean,
Sinam Blockpo says parents have lost it totally when it comes to proper upbringing of children, especially Egyptian parents.
I beg you, them Palestinian parents.
Egyptians.
I mean,
you are in Ghana.
Sure that's her experience. Abele Wago says, does today's parents have the emotional intelligence to raise their children? And that's something to look out for. Emotional intelligence in parenting. Because like I said, a lot of young parents now are very overwhelmed. They are very, very overwhelmed, and they don't know how to react. Some parents even expect children to understand them. That's a level of lack of intelligence. You know, so we cannot. This topic is very, very important. I'll come back to your messages on 3FM page. Go on 3FM 92.7 on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. Very soon I'll read the Instagram messages. I will open the phone lines in a bit. Let me announce the phone line: 0559-242-717. 0559-242-717. Are parents too soft on kids today, or gentle parenting is the way to go? And in the studio I have Carl, I have King, and I have Michael.
Trig, let me tie this in here. You know, the generation that is raising Gen Zs now are the millennials.
Yeah.
And the generation that raised the millennials were the strict ones. So you I don't know if you get it. We grew up on computers and fun and all that, and the kind of upbringing, tying it to the last message you read, emotional intelligence and all that, the kind of society we grew up in, that's how we are raising the Gen Zs, and the Gen Zs will be raising the next generation. So but it's a gap. I mean, if we are learning from the generation before us, it's a very big gap. Before my submission, I said either we are strict or you're very soft. And sometimes if you're too strict, the child can be wayward or the reason why I am indoors always, and I've never been an outdoor person like parties and all that. I went out one time, and the way my big brother came here, since then, I've never been I've never loved to go out.
I want to also use this to encourage continuous parenting. It doesn't stop. You know, I mean, it stops, yes, for once you get your liberty, that's fine. But you know, when you get to a certain age, sometimes the liberty is given too early. Because when you are just about 18, 19, 20, some parents tend to... Me, I got my freedom from 18 years. I started thinking of myself even earlier.
That's okay.
You know, so that's, so I think parenting is not also just do this, do that. Sometimes it's having a conversation. I have that relationship with my father. You know, I can sometimes tell him that with this one, you know, go work. So this, that. And he's cool. And to date, I always say he's never called me by my name. He still calls me, he calls me Trig.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, Trig, Charlie, so the people, they said this one, and he called me like last week, and he was telling me how he wants to take a decision on something, and I had to advise him. And he said the reason I'm asking is because it's your time. You people, it's your time. Yeah, man. Yes, Carl.
And Trig,
take the last words, guys. So we can move on.
The reason that your dad can proudly relate to you the way he does still is because that, you know, he found a fine balance between authoritarianism as a parent and permissiveness. And so in trying to be in between, now there are clear boundaries. As a child, you know that I could not go out after 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. But if I wanted to go out, I'm permitted to. I just have to seek permission, and it is between this time and this time. It gives you the opportunity to think and to how do you call it, to evaluate and present yourself properly, and you carry it on to society. When there is a fine balance between authoritarianism and permissiveness, again, you are able to make decisive decisions. You are able to know which there are structures, you know. So if you earn salary, the salary comes into your pocket instead of going to a beer bar with friends, boys, drinking your head off, because there is a fine balance between permissiveness and authoritarianism. You know that no, I can get a bottle today. No, I can't get a bottle today. You are able to rule yourself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carl. He's telling us find a balance between authoritarianism and permissiveness. King.
I'll
quick
read
one,
from
you
the
have
Bible.
1 minute.
Yeah, I'll read from the Bible.
Yes.
So Proverbs 23:13-14 says, do not withhold discipline from a child.
Yes.
If you strike him with a rod, he will not die.
He will not die.
If you strike him with the rod, you will save his soul from Selah.
Yes.
But Ephesians 6 says, do not provoke your child to anger, but guide them or bring them in discipline and instructions of the Lord. You understand? So find a balance, as my brother said. Know how to. It's a two-edged thing. You can't be too strict and you can't be too soft. So play it in a way that you can be able to raise the child right.
All right. King says so. King, do you have a child?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a 7-year-old. His name is Salim.
Me, I have 2.